All right, we're gonna do some solving reference triangles, but we don't know. Like, we got a mixture of them, right? We got both of them in here. We don't know if we're just gonna be using one or the other. So let's look at this first guy. We got a 60 degree, we got a 60 degree, we got a 90 degree. These guys are supplementary, so we also know that this is 90. Okay, we only have to find the x, which is nice. Now, let's go ahead and look at this guy. If I pull, let's do this green triangle. Let's go ahead and draw a reference triangle that looks like that. So it's the 60 degree triangle here. We got 90 degree here. We know 30, 60, 90 is our 1, 2, 3. Last number is square rooted. Hypotenuse is always a 2. So right angle, hypotenuse is a 2. 60 is our medium angle. Our medium side is radical 3. 30 would be this guy up here. Opposite of 30 is 1. Okay, hopefully we are okay with that so far. If you look at this guy, we don't have anything else, right? We have an x. We don't know what this guy is, but we have all the sides over here. We need another side in order to fill this guy out, because we could do x over, I don't know what those are. X over something equals radical 3 over whichever one we know. Okay, so looking at this, how could we figure out what we're talking about here? We know this guy is 30, right? It's a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Opposite of 30 is 1. So if this was 1, it's 10 times bigger than 1, correct? So that means that all of the sides opposite of this guy, so I'm going to draw this guy over here in pink. $31. So this is my reference triangle. 90, we get 2. 60, square roots of 3, right? So if you look at this to this, it's 10 times bigger. So then this side length is going to be 10 times bigger. So 10 times bigger, that guy is going to be 10 root 3. 10 times bigger is 10. 10 times bigger is, now we know that this guy is 20. And we know that this guy is 10 square roots of 3. Okay? So now we can go into this little ratio here. So we know x and 10 root 3. So 10 root 3 is going to go here. Root 3 is on this triangle, and we went with 10 root 3, so we're going to go with 1. So we did x over 10 root 3. We got to go corresponding. So x and root 3 correspond, 10 root 3 and 1 correspond. Cross multiply this guy. 1 times x is x, and then we're going to get 10 square roots of 3 times square roots of 3. We're going to do number times number, so number in front, 10 times 1 and 10 is 10. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 is square root of 9, which simplifies down to just 3. So that means that x is 30. Okay? All right, now let's look at this guy. Okay, so we have this lovely triangle. Let's draw another reference out here for it. 45 degrees. We know 45. 45, 90 is a 1, 1, 2. Last number is square rooted. 2 is always with the hypotenuse. So we know square root of 2 is here and 1 is here. So we're given this guy right here, right? We know that this is 6 and this is root 2. So we're multiplying something by a scale factor to get it up to 6, right? So we could say square root of 2 times, I don't want to use x. So let's say scale factor. So we're going to call it SF. Okay, so we're multiplying root 2 by some sort of scale factor, and we're getting a 6 out. Let's see what that scale factor is. So we're going to divide by square root of 2. Divide by square root of 2. So we get our scale factor is 6 over root 2. We can't have a square root in the denominator, so we rationalize, my friends. We get 6 square roots of 2. Root 2 times root 2 is 2. There is no addition or subtraction in this radical, which means we can go ahead and cancel. So 6, if you just look at 6 and 2, if I gave you the fraction 6 over 2, you would say 3, right? So 3 square roots of 2 is going to be our scale factor, SF. Okay, so we know our scale factor is going to be 3 roots 2. We had to multiply this by 3 root 2 to get here. So now we know that these guys are 3 root 2s. Which is great. Doesn't help us. Well, it does help us. It just doesn't answer the question for us. So if we look at the question, okay, let's look at this guy. So we have this triangle. I'm going to move it down here. You still see it. So we have the green triangle in the problem. Got 45, we got X, we got right angle. I'm going to draw a reference triangle for it now. 45, opposite of 45-degree triangles are side 1, opposite of the right angle is root 2. Okay, we know what this opposite of the right angle is in the question that we pulled from the triangle that we pulled from the question, right? So now we can go ahead and do our fractions. So we can go 3 radical 2 over x equals root 2 over 1. Go ahead and cross multiply these guys. So we get 1 times 3 root 2, which is 3 root 2, equals x times root 2. Can't have a square root in the denominator. So we don't have to rationalize that because it's a multiplication, which means we can cancel things out. So we can cancel these guys out. So x is 3. And we're done. I know these are kind of nasty, huh? All right, let's look at the next one. Okay, so if we look at this guy, we have, this is a right angle, this is a right angle. This is 60, which means this is 30. So if we do a reference triangle of 30, opposite of 30 is 1. Opposite of hypotenuse is always a 2 of some sort. Square root of 3 is opposite of 60 in this case. Okay, so look at this. 10 root 6 and 1. This length is 10 root 6 bigger than 1. So we can go ahead and say that this side is going to be our scale factor, which is going to be 10 root 6, times our reference, which is root 3. So we're going to get 10 square roots of 18. We can simplify square root of 18 to be 9 and 2. So we would get 10 square roots of 9, square root of 2. Square root of 9 is 3. So this would really be 30 square roots of 2. So this side length is 30 square roots of 2. Okay, so we know the scale factor is 10 square roots of 6, and we're just going to multiply that guy by 2. So this guy is going to be our scale factor, 10 square roots of 6, times our reference. Let me write that down. We're doing our scale factor times our reference number. Okay, so in this case, we do big number times big number, coefficient times coefficient. We get 20 square root of 6. So this one is 20 square roots of 6. Okay. So now we did all of that. Whew. Now we got to figure out what x is, which isn't even in that triangle. Isn't that fun? But we had to do that to figure out we have to have some sort of side on our reference angle that we're looking for. So let me redraw what we got. This is what we have in the problem. 45x. And then we know, based on what we solved up here, that this side length is 30 square root of 2. Okay, so let's do a reference triangle. Draw it in the same orientation. So we'll say this is 45, 1 square root of 2. You see the fractions we can set up right there? X over 30 root 2 over 1. I guess I can do that now. X over 30 square roots of 2 equals square root of 2 times 1. Cross multiply. X equals 30 square roots of 2 times square root of 2. Multiply radical and radical together, which is radical 4, which is really 2. So 30 times 2 is 60. 60 equals X. All right, guys. I know these are tough. Let's try one more. Okay. We have a 45, 45, 90 on top. Let's look at that guy. Because that's only side length we know, right? So I think that's a good place to start. It's a 45. 1, opposite of 45 is 1. Hypotenuse is root 2. So I have 1. I need to get to 5 root 2. What's my scale factor? What do I need to multiply 1 by to get to this? 5 root 2. If you need to make an equation to find that, you can do that. You can say, okay, 1 times some sort of scale factor. A lot of times they just use S's. I use SF just because S sometimes look like 5. And I want to get to 5 square roots of 2. I would divide by 1. So there's my scale factor. Okay. If you need to do the algebra for that. If that is 5 square roots of 2, I know that one's the same. So this also is 5 square roots of 2. This is root 2. So this is going to be 5 root 2, because that's our 1 value, times root 2. So let's figure out what that side is. It's going to be 5 square roots of 2 times square root of 2. 5 times always imaginary 1 if there's nothing there. Root 2 times root 2 is the same thing as root 4, which is 2. So 10 is this length right here. Okay, let's look at this guy. Draw my reference triangle. Oops. So I got 60 there, 30x, and I know this is 10. So that is that guy. And then let's draw our reference for that. So 60 goes square root of 3. 60. 30 is 1. Hypotenuse is 2. So now if we look at this guy, here's our fraction. So 10 over x equals 1 over square root of 3. Cross multiply those guys. So we get x is 10 square roots of 3. Okay, I know that this concept is pretty challenging. If you are still like, oh my gosh, what magic just happened there? Do me a favor, take a break, go have a snack, come back, look at this video again, try the problems, and let's see if we can't connect the pieces. As always, if you have questions, reach out to your teachers for help.